Hello, we're doing some general Tailwind theming of my card components in this new domains um, grid. I don't like that new domain, so I'm going to change new domains to by a domain. I'm going to see if it reloads on its own. It's compiling down at the bottom, as you can see, I hope. And there we go, it reloaded. Let's open the Firefox DevTools, Control-Shift-I. Make it a bit bigger. Much bigger. And the grid I set up is not very responsive, so let's change that as well. I made that grid in the last video I recorded on this site. This is directdiary.com. You can check it out. The updates from this video will go live. So we have our grid, and it's grid calls 3. However, we actually want just grid calls 1. I don't know if that exists, but I imagine it was the default, I recall, like 1 column. We're going to make that the medium breakpoint version, and then for small, like tablet size, I'm going to give it a grid calls -2. And I'm going to save and let it reload and play around with it. All right, so we've hit a breakpoint. It's gone down to like small size, and now it is just the regular mobile default size. Okay, that's good enough for that. Now the cards, I'm going to minimize that and open this up a bit. Playing around with ChatGPT, it's pretty neat, but not ideal for making tutorials. Anyhow, let us find the card component, which is right there. And I'll alt click it so we can go inside and have a look. Do this. I don't have any music on. Odd. Okay. We have our card component. I'm going to clean it up a bit. I learned yesterday. Well, I didn't learn yes. I was reminded yesterday that I can just destruct it, I think it's called. So I can pull out the href. Anywhere I'm seeing props here, I'm going to be replacing just the direct bar. Href, name, and price. And then if we get rid of props in front of all of them, and save, it should still be what it's supposed to be. No errors, so we're fine. We want, let's play with a gradient. This is beautiful at hypercolor.dev. Let's try this. Maybe this pink neon. They have a very handy, just click the Tailwind copy to clipboard button. I want to see what that other one does. Oh, the other one is just straight up, I don't know, actually. I'm just going to click that one again. And find the Shutterstock image and remove it. So if I save and look over here, it's gone. I'll put in a new div. Open it up. Give it a class name. And paste in the classes that I copied from hypercolor.dev. I hit Control S a lot, and I just did it again. Now, I don't want that image Copilot is telling me to put. It's kind of distracting when I'm trying to talk. So, I actually want the domain name up in the gradient. So let's try that. The gradients aren't working because I do not have the colors all set up in my Tailwind config. So I'm going to open Tailwind config. I was going to use the shortcut Control P, but I'll just open the File Explorer. And Tailwind config is right here at the bottom. So minimize that again. We do have some colors set up. We need pink, fuchsia, pink and fuchsia. So I don't know how to spell fuchsia. I'm just going to copy fuchsia. I'm going to paste it under orange and tab to let it autocomplete. And I said we needed pink, and it knows we want pink. So I hit Control Save again. And we have some action over on the left, as you can see. There is a gradient. Okay, let's make that color text color, not gray. Let's just make it a plain white. I don't want medium size. Let's try 2XL. We don't need that margin bottom anymore. We probably should put in some padding. I'll try 8. Control S before I lose my train of thought even more. And that's the result of what the classes I just applied to that paragraph. I don't know if it should be a paragraph or not, but I'm not going to worry about that now. How about a different font? Font Inter. We have Inter set up in our Tailwind config. As you can see, it updated on the left. Here's Inter, and it's being imported in the index.css, which is buried right there in the source directory. We have Inter and we have Golos text. I'm not sure what this price is. If we go to computed in the dev tools and filter on font, will it tell us? Yeah, we have the UI sans serif. So let's update the price font. So let's try font Golos. I think I have the key set up as Golos in Tailwind config. Yes. And now it updated on the left. I wasn't watching, but here we have font family. Now it's Golos, and it looks different. Okay. Zoom out a little. Control minus. It's looking better. Much nicer than that Shutterstock image. But it still looks, well, it's too uniform for my taste. So we should randomize the gradient. I'm going to just play with the padding for a second. I like that better. We have some jankiness down here. What's going on? It's just way too long, period. Way too much padding. We'll put it to 12. Still too much. Try 10. I mean, I'm going to have to get back to that later because, you know, domain names can be long. But anyhow, it looks fine for now, or better anyway. Stop it. Okay. Now, let's randomize it. We need a way to, well, first of all, I should find the gradient again. Where is it? It's right here. So the first step would be to just pull it out as a variable. We'll just do it step by step slowly. Let gradient equal, I'm just hitting tab to let it autocomplete, and if we compare it, it is indeed the same as what we pasted in earlier. Let's get rid of this now, and we can jam in the gradient variable, and it should, Control Save should result in the same deal. If I wreck it, it should break. That wasn't how I intended to wreck it. Maybe like that. Yeah, there we go. So it's working. However, a single variable doesn't do us much good. Let's change it to an array and break it again. Or maybe, I guess not. It just pulls the first value, I guess. Let's try another gradient. How about blue coral? Or scroll. Island waves. We'll try island waves. I'll paste it under our first gradient in the gradient array. I'd like to add the trailing comma. That's a matter of taste. I just saved again, and we have a broken gradient. So it's just pulling the last item in the array. If we change the, let me figure out. No, I don't know how to do it. I was gonna try to use the shortcut key to move it down. I'll figure that out later. If I save, it should go back to the fuchsia pink. And it does. But Control Z. I want to fix the colors of this of these stops, these gradient stops. Do we have yellow? I am going to right click in Tailwind on Tailwind config in VS Code split right. And we will look for, what was it? Yellow is there. Of course, you can see yellow. Gray is not. Gray. Colors are gray. Now, teal. We need teal. So I'll add the colors.teal to the config. And we have, I don't know if that's right. This is too large now. I'm going to close that index CSS. Yellow, gray, teal. And we have those all. So the gray is doing its job. It's just not, it's just clashing with our design, I think. Let's try this one. I'm going to replace the last one we did. I don't know what that pastel class was, if that was an error or not. But that looks good. Violet. I don't think it's in there. I don't know what's going on. Violet, there we go. I just let it autocomplete. I guess it knew based on this. I don't know how GitHub Copilot works. Is orange in there? Orange is right there. So we're good on that gradient. However, now we want it to be random. If we do 1, it should stay, or there's 0, there's 1. I don't know why it appeared to shift on that first save. Anyhow, how do we get a random gradient from this array without erroring? Let's ask Google JavaScript random array element. W3 resource. This seems reasonable, I guess. Math.floor, math random items.length. I'm going to copy and paste it and change items to gradient. So we have a little math equation, I guess. Math.floor. Let's see if we can just hover. Returns the greatest integer less than or equal to its numeric argument. So we're passing in math.random times gradient.length. Gradient.length gets or sets the length of the array. This is a number one higher than the biggest index in the array. We're going to go ahead and spell it out, because if you're watching this, you probably are a beginner. And this is beginner JavaScript as well. All right, so const, let's just say len for length equals gradient not length. And then we're going to console.log that len. I'm going to save it and see if it's working. And it appears to be. We have two different gradients, but we're still going to spell it out so we know what's actually going on. Oh, if we look at console.log, wait. Actually, I'll just do that. Nice reload, Control R. So 2 is being output from console.log. So the gradient has two gradients. And if we add yet another, I don't know what's going to look good. Doesn't matter. Let's try emerald. Now let's try orange coral. And then pasted it into our array, saved, and now our console.log updated to 3. So our array length is 3. Okay, and if we replace gradient.length down here with just len and save, it should still work. We just replaced gradient.length with a variable. So math.random, let's see what kind of values it creates. We're just going to console.log. I believe it's going to be like between 0 and 1. And it is. As you can see, it ran a whole bunch of times. And each time generated that random value. So how about we go const random equals, no, we're not going to let it do all that. We just want math.random, so we can keep it simple. We're going to replace math.random on here with just random. I saved again. I didn't change the console.log. And I'm just going to do a fresh reload so we can illustrate it's still doing what you expect, generating a value between 0 and 1. And as you can see, it's very long. We're simplifying our equation. Kind of erroneous, maybe. I think that's the word. So let's do a math.floor. Or actually, if we combine these two variables here, random times length with const, I don't know, let's say index, and paste that. Change this to index so we confirm it still works. And it's still working. Index, I will console.log index and save. I can't really tell what it is, so I'm going to add a comment beside it. And if we go down, I'm just going to reload again. Index. So random times the length of our array is giving us values like 1.46, 0.49, 2.3, and it's not going to go any higher than that because we only have 3 items in our array, 0, 1, and 2. That's why it's generating values like 0 point whatever, 1 point whatever, and 2 point whatever. Okay. So now we use mathfloor to round it down. Const real index equals, all right, let's call it floored index. Floored index equals math.floor index. And then in the gradient array down here, we can, of course, do floored index. And let VS Code do its thing, save. And let's do a console.log floored index save. something happened incorrectly there on the autocomplete. Floor index. There we go. So we got all our values being prettily printed. Index one. Well, what are we starting with? The length. Let's go ahead and add some comments so it's clearer. Length. I mean, you can see where this is going, but it is nice to just recap and look at it top to bottom. Index, and then a console.log to just make a big line. All right, so over on the left in our console.log, we have length 3. That's the length of our gradients array, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. We have our random number, which is between 0 and 1. Always 0 and between 0 and 1, I think. And then, unless it's, you might be able to pass an argument, I'm not sure. Index, no, I guess not, because that's why we're doing math. Index is what? The random number times the length of our array, which produces numbers like 1 point whatever, 0 point whatever, 2, all the way up to your array length. Then finally the floor index, which just cuts off all the remainder, and you get a nice clean index number to feed into the gradient array. And that's it. Let's get rid of all that console.log stuff, clean up. We don't really need all these, of course. We should create a function. So let's try that. Const get random gradient. I'm going to control tab to let it complete my function. What those are called now. Let's expand this out again, I guess. I'm just going to copy and paste it right in and return floored index. Change this to the get random gradient call. Very simple function call. That seems to be error. Oh no, that was the last error over there. So we have a working function that's pretty bad looking and just poor implementation. Doesn't really need to be this broken out, right? So wherever we see len, let's expand it back out to gradient on length. Random can just be that math.random again. Index, why not just this is, I mean, it's pretty simple and self-explanatory. So we're just gonna do that. I'm gonna add a weak ass JSX comment. Look at that. Generate a random, no, return a random gradient. I'm just going to leave it at that. Nested block is redundant. What does that mean? That's or disable, I don't know. It seems I have some configuring to do in VS Code, but I think our function's still working. I'm going to go do a hard reload, and we appear to have a bunch of different gradients, and I think that may wrap it up. We have a card component. To recap, we have our card component, which I did not alter. What did I alter? Thanks to Git, we can look at each file. We edited the Tailwind config to add the colors we are referencing in the card component in our gradient array. So we set up our gradient array, created a function to return a random element from that array, and then we shuffle the HTML around a bit, but the important part is we added this class name with our gradient array using the argument or the index, a function to generate the argument or the index, whatever you call it. And that's it. Pretty simple stuff. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, you want to see anything else. I'm happy to show you. Thanks for watching.